Now we will outline the primary characteristics of our full open expeditions through the normal route, via the extended itinerary of 18 days, plus 2 extra days, in case of bad weather conditions that may extend the regular itinerary. Arrive at Mendoza Airport on day 1 of your itinerary. Your group transfer will pick up the group at 1 p.m. at the exit gate to take you to the hotel. You may also hire a private airport transfer at another time in advance with us, or you can take a taxi on your own at the airport for a lower price. Once at the hotel, at 5 p.m. is your welcome meeting in the lobby. You will meet your guides, who will check your gear and will be available for technical questions only. After breakfast, we will take a private bus to our lodge in Penitentas. It's a 3-hour trip. We will pass through Uspallata, a historical place where Brad Pitt shooted 7 years in Tibet. At our lodge, 2,730 meters over sea level, we will start the acclimatization process, and we will prepare the loads for the mules. All meals are included from our lodge. The next morning the bus will take us to the park entry 5 minutes away. The mules will carry all the loads, and we will have to carry our day pack with some personal belongings, like a wind jacket, cell phone, a small 1-liter bottle of water, and lunch. It will take a 4-hour trek to arrive at Camp Confluencia, at 3,300 meters, where we have our facilities with domes, electricity, toilets, dining dome. There we will have our first medical checkpoint, and rest. We will do an acclimatization trek the following morning to Plaza Francia. It'll be an 8-hour trek up to 4,000 meters. From there, we will see the magnificent Aconcagua south face, the highest dark face in the world after Everest's north face. We return to Confluencia to rest there. Our mules will pick up the loads the next morning while we start the longest trek to reach base camp Plaza de Mulas at 4,200 meters. It will be around 8 hours carrying only our day pack. There, our facilities will be waiting for you. Domes, toilets, electricity, single tents, Wi-Fi, hot showers, and more optional services you can only hire in advance. The next day we will rest in Plaza de Mulas and have our second medical checkpoint. The following day we will do an acclimatization trek to Mount Bonete. It's about 7 hours round trip and we'll have our first summit at 5,091 meters. We will see the stunning Aconcagua's west face, from the base camp up to Camp 1 Canada, 5,050 meters. Camp 2 Nido de Condores, 5,500 meters, Camp 3 Calera, 6,000 meters. And the summit at 6,962 meters. After our first summit in Mount Bonete, we return to base camp to rest there. The next morning we will do an acclimatization trek to Camp 1 while carrying about 10 kilograms of food and water along with our day pack. Meals and water if necessary. For the ones who hire personal porters, that's what we call Porter Section 1. It's an optional service that you can hire in advance. On this day, we will walk about 5 or 6 hours round trip. After resting in Plaza de Mulas, we will go to Orcones Glacier the next day to practice walking with crampons on a glacier. It's not physically demanding. It's about 2 hours with the guides walking on the glacier to learn how to walk with them, especially for our summit day. Then we return to rest and take our last night in the base camp. The next day we'll move with our backpack to Camp 1 at 5,050 meters, walking about 3 or 4 hours. If you hired a personal porter to carry your backpack, that is what we call Porter Section 2. We stay the night at Camp 1 and the following morning we move to Camp 2, Nido de Condores, at 5,500 meters. That day you will have to carry your backpack again. For the ones who hired a personal porter, this is Section 3. The next day we will rest in Camp 2 and we have some time to recover energies and adapt to the high altitude. The following day we usually have an acclimatization trek to Camp 3, at 6,000 meters. We should carry some food and water along with our day pack and return to Camp 2. Sometimes, this acclimatization day, or another day, may be skipped depending on the time window for the summit attempt. The itinerary is flexible according to each group, the weather, and the guide's criterion, but the loads must be carried anyway to each camp. If you have a personal porter, this is Porter Section 4. The next day we do the same trek and will carry our backpack. And we will stay the night in Camp 3. If you have a personal porter, this is Porter Section 5. And the next morning, we finally start our summit day. Approximately on day 15 of the itinerary if no changes were made due to weather conditions, according to the guide's criterion. The summit day will be about 7 to 10 hours ascending and we will see the magnificence of the Colossus of America, the highest summit in the world out of the Himalayas. As you may see, the Aconcagua has 2 summits, and we will go to the highest one, where we'll take our time to celebrate at 6,962 meters above the sea level. Then we will return to Camp 3 to stay the night there. The next morning we will descend from Camp 3 to Base Camp. It's about 7 hours of walking, and for the climbers who hire personal porters, this is Porter Section 6. We'll arrive to Base Camp. Time to celebrate again. And rest there. If a climber abandons the expedition for any reason, you can stay in Base Camp Plaza de Mulas free of charge until your group returns from the summit and join them to return. Otherwise, due to park regulations, you will need to hire a helicopter or a private guide, mule, transfer, etc. at an extra cost, not included in your expedition. Please find full information at the Important Information section in your dashboard. The next morning the mules will carry our loads while we walk down to the park entrance. It's about 24 kilometers, a 7 to 8 hours trek. The bus will be waiting for us to take us to the lodge, have a good and deserved meal, take a shower, and rest there while the mules bring our loads. The next morning after breakfast, the bus will take us to Mendoza City, arriving at noon. And that will be the end of our expedition. Please bear in mind that days are estimated since the itinerary is flexible, thus it may take longer or shorter according to weather conditions and your guide's criterion. Guides will decide upon key factors whether to acclimatize in base camp or to move the agenda ahead on time and acclimatize in the high-altitude camps. Anyhow, the maximum duration during your expedition will always be 20 days.